Vast amounts of data are collected by any customer-facing enterprise. A credit card provider captures data related to transactions that indicate where the transaction happened, who made it, the amount spent, and on what. Telco providers get data related to calls made, and all that happens interactively between an end user of the smart device and with whom they are interacting. Airlines get their data on who traveled where and how much they spent on it. An online travel agency has data related to bookings for hotels, airlines, and vacation packages. A hotel chain has data about who stayed where, when, and how much they spent on from what stays to services. There are numerous data points, and though all this data is there, most of it is not being currently used in the most meaningful manner. Things are changing, and the possessors of data are creatively visualizing new ways to get some real tangible value out of it. In fact, the value can be driven for a better end-user customer experience. For the data holder, striving to respect privacy of the individual and safely gather data in a non-intrusive or irritating manner is important. A hospitality or hotel management system, or HMS, typically collects data related to the customer, the bookings, and stays. There are two ways to monetize data that an HMS gathers, which are personalization and generalization. While personalization is more relevant within the brand to which a vendor HMS is selling the services and specific brand associates, generalization is all about making the data anonymous by removing all personal identifiers and then harvesting insights from it that can be white labeled and sold as a service for further value addition and enrichment. Let's talk about data monetization by generalization. Data gathered about customers and their transactions can be collated and sorted by context. This data can be filtered by geography, age, and other factors. After filtering on the context criterion and grouping data by relevance, all personal identifiers can be removed so that the data is generalized and sanitized. Removal of all personal identification immediately addresses the GDPR and other regulatory requirements, some of which may be very specific to a region. Sometimes data may also be randomized to render generality to it, without losing the relevant characteristics for which it is of value. It's the operations on data such as sanitization, anonymization, and randomization that collectively lead to generalization of data. Value for seekers of insight as a service can be very specific to the objective. Let's say that an insight seeker wants to improve the service for business travelers to their property at a specific destination. But the particular property is short-staffed between September to October, as summer job students return to school. The brand has received some complaints and seen the demand declining, whereas competition is picking up the churn. Not a good situation for them. Let's assume that we have created a data capture platform for hospitality and gathered the data that can be analyzed in a manner that the system can respond to a client query and reveal some not so obvious trends. For example, if the query is looking for business traveler trends to destination XYZ between the months of September to October, the system may respond with, over the past 7 years, men between the ages of 40 to 55 formed the majority of business travelers at 55%. Ladies between the age of 35 to 50 come next to 25%, followed by men older than 55 at 15%. The majority of the travelers are English speaking at 80%, followed by Spanish at 10%. Though some complaints were not very explicit to the query seeker, the fact of the matter that surfaced is that guests got frustrated when they were not understood completely by the staff, and the problems they pointed out were not being immediately addressed. From the above response to the query, the brand managers did some further digging to discover that only 1/3 of their staff at this destination properly spoke English, and the remaining 2/3 of the staff just had a rudimentary working knowledge of the language. The locals mostly spoke Spanish. From this insight, they encouraged staff with incentives to reach a high proficiency level in English, making it mandatory for them to speak English at work with each other, except when they were entertaining a Spanish-speaking guest. Simultaneous to this action, they campaigned to lure back customers with a promotion, and also mentioned that they had upped their game with more English-speaking staff at the specific location, while also announcing a referral bonus. Not only did they see a reversal in the trend from decline to growth in demand, the rebound was so strong that the brand managers are now acquiring another property at this location to cope with the increased demand. In an analysis of the above case study, none of the personal information related to any specific traveler was divulged, and the aggregated data made available to the seeker provided valuable insights that helped them solve the problem at hand. An industry example of generalized data provider is Trurata. They transform car transaction data to make it completely anonymized and then draw trends and insights from it. Let's now talk a bit about data monetization by personalization. Taking the above example further from data monetization by generalization, at the time of offering a specific promotion to the target individual customer, the incentives can be very specific to actually laser focus on the wants of the customer. Unless we really know the customer well, this can be a tricky and hard part. Let's say someone likes to drink, then 2 extra drink vouchers would be a good lure for them. Offering a box of cookies to someone who has never even accepted the welcome cookie would be a really bad idea. This is where we, in the hospitality industry, need to extend the number of data fields we capture about customer tastes and preferences, and train our staff on honoring that data. Once they really get to know the customer, they can actually create an experience for them that no technology can match. The best thing an HMS platform of the future can do is sit with them and learn from them as to what can now be extended and programmed in the system to emulate the best behaviors that wow the customer. Their specific knowledge about individual customers and overall experience with creating a positive and welcoming ambiance is what best the HMS platform of the future can strive to emulate. That is exactly what personalization is. While generalization is an aggregation to provide insights by a category or classification or grouping, personalization is very focused on the individual. Once we have created a new set of data fields that capture the 360-degree view of the customer, we can further enrich this profile with inputs from social media and browsing history, to enrich with tastes, preferences, and biases. All this trending data can be further leveraged as inputs to the recommendation engine that makes suggestions for the next best action and next best offer for a specific customer. Location data can further enhance the relevance of such offers for opted-in customers. Recommendation engines take inputs from multiple sources to personalize the value proposition to exacting needs of the specific individual and make the right offer at the right time and at the right location. The personal focus of the recommendation engine's next best action or next best offer output needs to get to the level of being so unique to rival the signature and DNA of individualization.